Welcome to an episode of Crime Stories, where we listen to the most horrendous acts committed on the Korean peninsula and beyond. A word of caution, these stories are not for the faint-hearted, so proceed with caution. On this episode we will look at a case that we will refer to as the mysterious death of the Sasang, Waitress, 2002. Trigger warning, murder, May 31, 2002, 22 years old at the time, Young Mo, a waitress at a solar coffee shop located in Gwibyepdong, Sasang-gu, Busan, was found dead in the sea in front of Seongchang Wood in Myeongji-dong, Gangseo-gu. She was found 10 days after her disappearance. There were no signs of sexual assault, but as many as 40 stab wounds were found. Young went home from work at 10 p.m. as usual. 11 o'clock on the same night, she said she was in Seommyeon while talking on the phone with her junior, Yang Jeong. But after that, she was nowhere to be seen. The next day, she didn't even go to the coffee shop, and there was no contact. According to the people around her, Yang is said to be kind, frugal, and sincere. Why did she suddenly cut off contact and disappear? Her older sister cleaned the room and noticed she had not come that night and thought nothing of it. When the younger sister did not contact her for several days, she decided to take action. After asking questions, the older sister went to the coffee shop where her younger sister was working, but there was no contact with Yang from the coffee shop side either. Rather, she was asked if she knew the whereabouts of Yang. The older sister eventually reported the disappearance of Yang to the police station. The police report was made on the 9th day of her disappearance. The very next day after reporting the disappearance, Yang's body was found in the near the woods by the water. It had only been 10 days since she disappeared. A public worker, Joe, who was passing by, found a person in a sack that had been washed away by the waves. The identity of the body was soon revealed to be Yang. Yang was still clothed and there were no signs of sexual assault. The condition of the body was very dire. 40 wounds were found on her body. The National Forensic Service said that 2 to 3 of her 40 puncture wounds were fatal. Why was Yang, who had never done anything to bring a grudge against anyone, so brutally murdered? The suspects. The police immediately regarded the incident as a murder case and proceeded with an investigation, but encountered difficulties. First of all, it was because they did not know where the crime scene was. Myeongji-dong, where the body of the woman was found, is located at the mouth of the Nakdong River, and it was not known whether the body had drifted down along the Nakdong River or had flown up from the sea. They also conducted interrogation investigations into the people around her, but Yang had never done anything to bring a grudge against anyone. As the investigation progressed so slowly, a hopeful thing happened suddenly. Prominent suspects were caught on a bank's CCTV. There were 3 suspects. Suspect O is a man in his mid-20s with a strong physique, and the scene where he withdraws money from Yang's account was captured on the CCTV of the bank. The amount of money that he had withdrawn was as much as 2.96 million won. The important thing was when he withdrew the money, which was on May 22nd, the day after Yang disappeared. Also, the bank from which this person withdrew money was located very close to the coffee shop where Yang worked, but he was wearing a New York Yankees baseball cap, so his face was half hidden. The discovery of this person sparked an investigation, and the police investigated CCTV cameras of banks located all over Busan, and 2 more suspects were discovered. Suspect B, a woman in her early 30s, had long short hair, was about 160 centimeters tall, and had a big physique that seemed to weigh around 75 kilograms. And suspect C, a woman in her late 20s, was also 160 centimeters tall and had a normal physique and had long permed hair. The 2 women withdrew money from Yang's account at the same bank in Deokjeon, Dong, Buk-gu, a bit far from Yang's coffee shop. The amount the 2 of them withdrew was as much as 6 million won. Also, unlike A, these two women were not wearing hats, so their faces were relatively clear. In this way, the faces of three suspects A, B, and C were caught on CCTV, and the police immediately publicly wanted them as they thought they were related to this case. A bounty was also put on the TV, and the three suspects were publicly wanted. However, in spite of this wanted, no conclusive information came out. The police again conducted an investigation on about 50 people around Yong, but again, there was no success. The investigative team that investigated the case at the time regarded the case as the act of a theft. The current investigation team in charge of unsolved cases was also viewed as the work of an ignorant criminal. Yang said that while living a frugal life, she saved more than 1 million won a month and always carried a bang book. The police claimed that Yang was stabbed in 40 places and that it occurred in the process of threatening to find out the password of the bang book. There were 3 suspects, and even though the faces of these people were clearly captured, no decisive information was heard from anywhere, and even their whereabouts were unknown. Arrest of suspects. Originally, this case was a case whose statute of limitations expired on May 21, 2017, 15 years after the incident. But the statute of limitations for murder cases that occurred after August 1, 2000 was abolished with the announcement of the so-called Tiwani Act. The case was also re-investigated. As long as the perpetrators are caught, they can be punished. After this case aired on the show I Want to Know, there was a report that they had seen a woman who is believed to be suspect B in the United States across the sea. The woman is wanted on charges of running away from Koreatown in 2016 for fraud and said that she had immigrated to the United States 14 years ago. However, suspect B was arrested in Korea, and as a result, it turned out to be a false report. The Busan Police Agency's Unsolved Case Investigation team posted information about the case on social media and encouraged citizens to actively report it. After a long effort, they succeeded in a potential arrest. Suspects B and C, who were caught by an acquaintance who saw the wanted flyer, reported that they were employees at a pub in Sasang, Busan at the time of the crime, and it is said that the main culprit was a frequent visitor to the pub where B and C worked. In the police investigation, B and C stated that they only helped withdraw cash because the main perpetrator gave a key money and that they did not know the information of the main perpetrators. At the time of the incident, the police investigated more than 15,000 call records that passed through base stations near the bank and found the record of the accomplices' calls, revealing the identity of the culprit. The main culprit, who worked at a factory in Busan, was arrested and sentenced to 2 years and 6 months in prison and 3 years of probation. After being sentenced to 1 month in prison, the probation was revoked, and after serving 10 years, he was released from prison.